One tomato contains 200 seeds. An Amish family saves 250 tomatoes from their garden. That is 50,000 seeds. Plant them all, and you have 50,000 plants. Save seeds from those, and within 3 years, you are looking at 10 million. This is how the Amish think. The selection process. Not every plant becomes a seed source. The Amish walk their gardens throughout the growing season, observing. They look for the healthiest vines, the earliest producers, the plants that resist disease when others wilt. A small cloth tag marks the chosen ones. By late summer, maybe 1 plant in 10 carries a tag. Those marked plants are left untouched, their fruit reserved exclusively for seed. The harvest method. Harvest timing is everything. Seeds need fully mature fruit, but not overripe. For tomatoes, that means fruit that has reached peak color and sits on the vine for an extra week. For peppers, the fruit must turn from green to red, signaling complete maturity. Beans and peas dry on the plant until the pods rattle when shaken. Squash and pumpkins stay in the field until the first light frost threatens, their skins hardening into natural armor. Each crop has its moment, and the Amish know them all. Harvest too early, and the seeds lack vigor. Wait too long, and rot or frost destroys months of work. Fermentation and drying. Wet seeds and dry seeds require completely different treatment. Tomatoes and cucumbers come wrapped in a gel coating that prevents germination inside the fruit. To remove it, Amish families use fermentation. The seeds sit in their own pulp for 2 to 3 days at room temperature. Beneficial bacteria break down the gel, and the viable seeds sink to the bottom while pulp and bad seeds float. After fermentation, the seeds are rinsed and spread on plates to dry for 2 weeks. Dry seeds, beans, peas, lettuce, squash need no fermentation. They dry naturally in their pods or shells. Once fully dry, they are shelled by hand. The test is simple. A properly dried seed snaps in half instead of bending. The storage system. Storage determines whether seeds last 1 year or 15. The Amish use a layered system. Paper envelopes hold individual varieties, labeled with crop name, year saved, and source plant notes. Those envelopes go into glass jars with tight sealing lids. Inside each jar sits a small cloth pouch filled with rice, which acts as a desiccant, pulling moisture from the air. The jars are stored in the coolest, darkest part of the root cellar, where temperature holds steady between 45 and 55 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Humidity stays low, light never reaches them. For seeds intended for long-term storage backup stock kept for future generations, the jars move to a freezer. Frozen seeds, if kept completely dry, can remain viable for 10 to 15 years. Some Amish families maintain freezer vaults containing seeds their great-grandparents saved. Cross-pollination prevention. Seeds only breed true if they stay pure. Cross-pollination ruins that purity. When a cucumber cross-pollinates with a melon, the seeds produce something neither parent intended. The Amish prevent this through careful planning. Self-pollinating crops, tomatoes, peppers, beans, peas, rarely cross-pollinate because their flowers fertilize themselves before opening. These are the easiest seeds to save. Cross-pollinating crops require more effort. Squash, cucumbers, melons, and corn all need isolation. The Amish plant different varieties far apart, sometimes half a mile between types. When space does not allow distance, they use physical barriers. Fine mesh bags cover individual flowers before they open. The next morning, the Amish hand-pollinate using small brushes, transferring pollen from male flowers to female flowers of the same variety. The bags stay on until the fruit begins forming. Some families grow only one variety of each cross-pollinating crop per year, rotating varieties season to season to maintain diversity without risking contamination. Seed lifespan knowledge. Not all seeds age the same. Onion seeds lose viability quickly 1 to 2 years at most, even with perfect storage. Parsnip and parsley seeds follow the same pattern. These short-lived seeds must be saved and replanted frequently with no room for multi-year storage plants. Beans, carrots, peas, and spinach fall into the middle category. With proper storage, they last 3 to 4 years. Amish families save these seeds every other year, rotating stock to ensure freshness without annual effort. The long-lived seeds, tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuce, pumpkins, squash, remain viable for 4 to 5 years under normal storage conditions. In freezer storage, they can last a decade or more. These are the crops where deep seed banking makes sense. Before each planting season, the Amish test germination rates. They count out 25 seeds, place them between damp paper towels, and wait. After 2 weeks, they counted how many sprouted. If 20 seeds germinate, that is an 80% rate acceptable. If fewer than 15 sprout, the batch gets composted and replaced. There is no point planting seeds that will not grow. The community exchange. Seed saving in Amish communities is never a solitary practice. It functions as a network, a living library distributed across dozens of families. When one family grows excellent pole beans, they save extra seeds to share. Another family specializes in a particular variety of winter squash their grandfather brought from the old country. Through exchange, everyone benefits from collective genetic diversity without every family needing to grow every crop. Seed swaps happen informally throughout the year. After church, at community gatherings, during visits between neighbors, seeds change hands. A woman might arrive at a quilting bee with envelopes of saved tomato seeds, offering them to anyone interested. A farmer whose corn performed exceptionally well will set aside extra for families who struggled with their crop that season. There is no money involved. Seeds are gifts, freely given with the expectation that recipients will continue the cycle. Some communities maintain informal seed libraries, a shared collection stored in a community building available to any family who needs it. Others participate in regional seed exchanges organized by groups like Seed Savers Exchange, which maintains over 20,000 heirloom varieties. The Amish have been active participants since the organization's founding, contributing rare varieties that exist nowhere else. The labeling system. A seed without a label is a seed lost. The Amish labeling system is meticulous, built on generations of learned necessity. Every envelope, every jar, every storage container carries specific information written in careful handwriting. The variety name comes first. Not just tomato, but Cherokee Purple, or Brandywine, or German Johnson, the specific cultivar that determines flavor, size, color, and growing characteristics. Next comes the year saved. Seeds from 2024 are treated differently than seeds from 2019. Knowing the age helps determine planting priority and expected germination rates. Source plant notes matter more than outsiders might expect. North Garden, third row, earliest producer, tells the planter that these seeds came from a plant that performed exceptionally well in a specific location. Resistant to blight when others failed indicates genetic traits worth preserving. Largest fruit, best flavor, shows selection criteria. These notes guide future planting decisions and help track which genetic lines prove most valuable over time. Some families add germination test results to their labels. Tested March 2025. 22 over 25 sprouted gives an 88% germination rate, information that determines how densely to plant. Others note special growing requirements. Needs full sun or prefers cooler temperatures or plant after last frost. The labeling happens immediately after drying while memory is fresh. Wait too long and details fade. Mix up two similar varieties and years of careful selection can be lost. The multiplication effect. Start with the numbers. One healthy Roma tomato plant produces 200 tomatoes in a season. Each tomato contains approximately 200 seeds. That single plant, if all its seeds were saved, yields 40,000 seeds. Plant just 1/10 of those seeds, 4,000, and you have 4,000 plants. If each produces 200 tomatoes with 200 seeds each, the second generation yields 160 million seeds. The math becomes almost absurd, but it reveals why seed saving creates such profound food security. A family that saves seeds from just 5 tomato plants has enough genetic material to supply their entire community for decades. The multiplication compounds every year, creating abundance from careful selection. This is not theoretical. Amish families operate exactly this way. They save far more seeds than they personally need, building reserves that protect against crop failure, share with neighbors, and preserve for future generations. A bad year, late frost, early blight, drought cannot destroy what took generations to build. The seed vault in the root cellar contains backup upon backup upon backup. Cherry tomatoes multiply even faster. A single cherry tomato plant can produce several hundred fruits over a season. Each fruit contains 50 to 100 seeds. One plant easily generates 10,000 to 20,000 seeds. Within 2 generations, that number reaches millions. The Amish do not count in seasons, they count in generations. What matters is not this year's harvest, but whether their great-grandchildren will eat from the same varieties. The multiplication effect ensures they will. Genetic adaptation. Seeds are not static. Every generation of saved seeds becomes slightly more adapted to the specific conditions where they grow. This is not genetic modification. It is natural selection, guided by human hands choosing which plants produce the next generation. An Amish family in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, saves tomato seeds for 50 years. They choose seeds from plants that thrive in their specific soil, their specific climate, their specific growing season. Year after year, those seeds become better suited to that exact environment. Planted elsewhere, they might not perform as well. Planted in Lancaster County, they outperform anything from a commercial seed catalog. This adaptation happens across all characteristics. Disease resistance improves when seeds are saved only from plants that stayed healthy during outbreak years. Drought tolerance increases when seeds come from plants that produced well during dry seasons. Early ripening becomes more consistent when the earliest plants are selected as seed sources. Flavor intensifies when only the best-tasting fruits provide seeds. The result, after generations, is a tomato variety that exists nowhere else. It carries the genetic memory of every season it survived, every challenge it overcame, every selection decision made by the family that grew it. Commercial seeds cannot replicate this. Hybrid seeds actively prevent it, requiring new purchases every year because saved hybrid seeds produce unpredictable results. Heirloom seeds, open-pollinated varieties at least 50 years old, maintain genetic stability. Saved seeds produce plants nearly identical to their parents. Over time, though, those plants shift slightly, adapting, becoming ideally suited to their home ground. This is what the Amish preserve, not just seeds, but the capacity for seeds to adapt, to improve, to carry forward the wisdom of every harvest. Economic independence. Some Amish families have not purchased seeds in over a century. The savings compound year after year. A packet of heirloom tomato seeds costs $4 to $6 and contains perhaps 50 seeds. An Amish family saving seeds from 5 plants generates 40,000 seeds at zero cost. Even accounting for labor time and seed saving integrates naturally into harvest work already being done. The economics are overwhelming. But independence runs deeper than money. Seed companies can stop carrying varieties. They can go out of business. They can be bought by corporations that discontinue heirloom lines in favor of hybrids. They can face supply chain disruptions that leave shelves empty. None of this affects a family with a root cellar full of saved seeds. The control extends to selection criteria. Commercial breeders optimize for shipping, durability, uniform appearance, and shelf life. Flavor often ranks low on their priority list. The Amish save seeds based on what they value: taste, texture, how well a variety stores in the root cellar, how it performs in their specific soil. They are breeding for themselves, not for industrial agriculture. This independence multiplies across the community. When everyone saves seeds, no external company controls the food supply. A bad year for one family becomes a minor setback because neighbors share from their reserves. Seed saving transforms the community into its own seed company, its own genetic repository, its own insurance policy against whatever disruptions the outside world might experience. The cost is patience and attention. The return is permanent food security. 50,000 seeds saved in one harvest is not about the number. It is about what those seeds represent. They are genetic insurance. They are economic independence. They are the accumulated wisdom of every season that came before. encoded in living tissue that will grow again. The Amish do not save seeds because it is romantic or traditional. They save seeds because it works, because it creates security no store can provide, because it builds resilience that lasts across generations. Because they understand something the modern world forgot: the future begins in the garden, one seed at a time.